At ADHD and Autism Advocacy, we have a lot of discussions about autism, ADHD, and things that are happening in the media, press, and things that people say. And one of these discussions most recently has been on people using the phrase, "we are all on the autistic spectrum." So this has been widely debated and discussed in many, many different groups, but the community have asked me to explain in a little bit more depth my opinion on this and why we shouldn't use the phrase, "we are not all on the autistic spectrum." Autism goes beyond signs and symptoms. Autism is a way of thinking and it's a way of being in the world. There isn't one thing that you can point to and say that is autism. It's a collection of behaviours, a collection of experiences that work together and are entwined with each other to form autism spectrum condition. This being said, every single person on the autism spectrum experiences these levels of behaviours and experiences at different rates. So everybody's experience is unique to them, as is human experience. Autism is currently understood through different diagnostic criteria, one of these being the DSM-5 dyad of impairments. These group autistic behaviours and experiences into two categories. One, social communication and social interaction, and two, restrictive, repetitive patterns of behaviour. Social communication and social interaction refers to many elements of socialising. So that's from eye contact through to making and maintaining friendships, the amount of energy that is consumed in socialising through social stamina. So someone on the autistic spectrum may get tired quite quickly when socialising, and also is about social expression and expressing wants, needs, desires, emotions, and communicating those effectively. Many people on the autistic spectrum find these areas, or some of these areas, really difficult within their day-to-day, and they need to use different ways of communicating, different ways of organising social events, and different ways of maintaining friendships than the general population would. Another group of behaviours or group of experiences that makes up autism is also restrictive and repetitive behaviours. This refers to things like having routines in place that make many autistic people feel safe, through to ritualistic behaviours, doing things in certain order, needing to have things done on certain days, and liking the repetitive nature of routines, experiences, weekly plans, timetables, those kind of things. This group of behaviours and experiences also refers to restrictive and repetitive movements. This is moving of hands and body in the way that an autistic person wants to express themselves. This could be through hand flapping, rocking backwards and forwards, which is seen as a regulatory behaviour and is actually very positive to many autistics. It helps to calm, regulate, and make the person feel very safe. Outside of this diagnostic criteria, there are also other common co-occurring differences that many autistic people experience. These aren't exclusive to autism itself, but are also common experiences for many people on the autistic spectrum. So these include things like executive functioning difficulties, that's difficulties with planning, sequencing, remembering things, and also sensory processing differences, so how light, sight, sounds, touch is processed within the body, either being too loud or not being able to access it enough, so under or over responsive. And also things like hypermobility, where your joints are really, really bendy, and fine and gross motor skills that can really impact things like writing. So now that I've outlined the autistic experience and the autistic behaviours under different criterias and through different perspectives, I now want to discuss the semantics of the word spectrum, because I think this is key to understanding why it's not appropriate to use the term "we are all on the autistic spectrum" or "we are all on the spectrum." The word spectrum refers to a way of measuring something. So, for instance, happiness can be seen on a spectrum of being extremely unhappy through to being very, very happy. The autistic spectrum, on the other hand, is how a group of behaviours impacts that one person. So the autistic spectrum isn't one element. It isn't just socialising. It isn't just restrictive and repetitive behaviours. The autistic spectrum is a collection of different elements that make up autism, and then how that collectively works together, influences each other, and impacts that person on a daily basis. Therefore, without being autistic, there is no way that you would be anywhere on the autistic spectrum, because there would be no way that you would have every element that makes up autism as part of your experience in this world. You may experience a trait, you may experience one element of autism, but as a non-autistic person, you could never, ever experience what it is like to be on the autistic spectrum. So I'm making this video as a way of saying, please consider not using the phrase everyone is on the autistic spectrum. It can be really upsetting for many autistic people and their families. It can devalue an autistic experience or their difficulties. And I know that many people say these kind of phrases out of love or trying to connect, but it just isn't helpful. But I also really want to add that if you've listened to this video and actually you think, I do experience the world in this way, I do experience these types of behaviours, and actually it does impact my life, maybe I am on the autistic spectrum, then I really do ask for you to go and either visit the National Autistic Society's site to find out more information on adult diagnosis, or alternatively visit your GP in order to discuss this a little bit further. Thank you very much for watching this video, and please come and join us at ADHD and Autism Advocacy. I look forward to reading your comments.